play. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Sensei. I am your girl, Sensei, of course. And we have another great show for you because that's what we do here at the Sports Sensei. Give you nothing but great shows. We'll be talking about the Las Vegas Aces as well as Becky Hammond, Asia Wilson. We'll be talking about Russ because that's still a thing in the NBA. I don't know why. We'll also be talking about the NFL where we will be recapping week 2. And we'll be also talking about the Bills as well as Trey Lance, Jimmy G, all things, all plays. We're going crazy right now. So make sure y'all check out this episode. It's going to be another great content for y'all. And before that, check out this really cool video. What's up, ladies and gentlemen and ladies? It's another rendition of the greatest show on earth, the Sports Sensei. I am your girl, Sensei, with my lovely co-hosts, Ruth the Truth and Jen Nicole. Ladies, how are we doing today?
What's up? Glad to be back on the ASAP network with you ladies. It's been a long week. Great weekend. I know me and Alana had some fun. I'm sure Jay Nicole did too. And yeah, we're just happy to be back. And man, do we have so much sports topics to cut into today. Like, can I just say the Buffalo Bills are going to the mother effing Super Bowl? Allen, stay healthy. I'm telling you, they're coming out the AFC. You better watch out.
We have a wild draft with an early Super Bowl prediction. Jay Nicole, you just gonna let her talk to you like that?
I was like, my Chiefs gonna have something to say about that, okay? My Chiefs gonna have something to say about that. I can't wait to see them. I think they leak up in October. I can't wait to see that matchup. But yeah. My Chiefs gonna have something to say about that. We'll get to it. Let the season progress. But I will give Josh Allen all of his flowers right now. Put some respect on that man's name. I was not for Josh Allen, but what he did, last year against my Chiefs in the AFC, the final,
AFC
championship final, get that out. Yes, so I definitely have respect on his name, and they are looking hot to try. I think it'll be my Chiefs and the Bills, 1 and 2. So we'll see this at the end. But yeah, I mean, so much stuff to talk about. NFL. Oh, so happy it's back. Just finished week 2. The Aces, man, San Antonio. I used to be the San Antonio Stars, like y'all just don't give our thing away.
Let's go ahead and get to it. So as we all know, the Las Vegas Aces did wrap up the championship in a 3-1 gentlemen's or ladies sweep. I'm gonna call it a lady sweep instead of a gentleman's sweep. Ladies sweep of the Connecticut Sun. Of course, Chelsea Gray, who was playing out of her freaking mind, Finals MVP. So this means for Asia Wilson, 2-time MVP. She's a first-time champion, Defensive Player of the Year, and they had the Coach of the Year in Becky Hammond, as well as the Most Improved Player of the Year, which is Jackie Young. So the Aces are strapped, locked, and loaded. Ladies, what do you guys think about the championship? And does Las Vegas have the potential to build a dynasty?
I really thought that the Las Vegas Aces were going to be able to completely sweep the Connecticut Sun, but Connecticut stole a game on at home in front of their home court, which was great. But I already knew going into that series that the Aces were really going to have something to say about it. I mean, Becky Hammon, can we shout out the head coach right now? Her first year as a WNBA coach, bringing the championship to Las Vegas, the first time in their franchise history. So excited for Becky Hammon. I know the San Antonio Spurs are kind of like, why did we let Becky go? Like Greg eventually Pop's gonna be out of here soon. So I mean, I had some people reaching out to me on Twitter saying that they hope that the San Antonio Spurs at least makes a phone call to Becky Hammon when Greg Popovich decides to take a step down, whenever that's gonna be. But man, congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces. First championship, bringing it to Vegas. I wish I was out there on the strip partying that weekend because, I mean, I can't wait for them to have their parade or whatever festivities that they got going on in Vegas. That's probably going to be a ball.
Well, the parade is actually today. It's at it started at 5:30, and I was like sick because I was like, man, I wish I was off. Because if I was off, I would be there right now. But what did you think, Jay Nicole?
Oh my gosh. I am just, again, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Becky Hammon. Like I said, to see her just leave from the Spurs, come in, do what she does, saying she was ready to be a head coach, ready to be in charge of her own team. I mean, best record in the WNBA. Like she's like, boom, I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna break all these records and do what I do. Coach of the year. So really happy for that. A'ja Wilson. Anybody who is from South Carolina Gamecocks, coached by Dawn Staley, A'ja. I mean, like, dude, like, man, like, what can I say? But I'm just so excited for them. I'm glad that my Sky didn't make it because I was like, man, if the Aces, I would have been a little bit torn. But yeah, man, they pulled it out, 3-1 victory. I mean, I definitely see a dynasty building. Man, they're gonna be right back there next year. But it's just such a beautiful thing to see. So happy for the city of Las Vegas getting their first championship, right? And they're finally able to have teams in their first championship.
And they've only been a legit team for what,
like
3 seasons?
Like 5 years.
I think they went.
Has it been 5 years already?
18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 18. Because the last San Antonio Stars game I saw was in 2017, and like,
going on 5 years. So yeah, going on 5. Yeah. But yeah, I was super happy for them. They were my early season championship pick, and I'm glad that I was right. It was just really dope to see, like you said, Becky Hammon in her first year just come in and just pretty much take over the league and like really show what she can do. Like I think a lot of NBA teams are kicking themselves right now because she really just changed the whole dynamic of that Las Vegas Aces culture. She got the best out of all of her players. Like I said, Chelsea Gray played out of her mind. I don't think I've seen anybody so locked in like she was like on another planet. Like everybody else is here and she was up here. So happy for her to get the Finals MVP. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference after the game, but A'ja Wilson is absolutely hilarious. Like I don't know if y'all watched it.
And so is Kelsey Plum. Like we got to give her flowers too.
Kelsey Plum her props because she was kind of up and down through the playoffs, but she stuck with it. She made a lot of clutch baskets for them. Even in the championship game, she made the pretty much the game sealing bucket. So shout out to Kelsey Plum. She's also hilarious. Like coming in the presser with the boom box. I was like, oh yes, I love it. I love the energy.
You guys,
I love it so much.
Y'all have to check out the tortilla challenge that they do on Kelsey Plum's page. They do it with the whole entire team, and they have like money on the line and everything. It is hilarious. Has over like 225,000 views on Instagram. You got to check it out. It's hilarious, but it's also really heartwarming to see how close knit that team is. It really is. I mean, they deserve a championship with how much they had each other's back, how everybody was so in tune. So yeah, congratulations to the Aces. I mean, as long as A'ja don't go nowhere, I feel like the Aces are going to be a threat in the WNBA for years to come.
For sure. I definitely think they have dynasty potential. I know that they got A'ja locked into an extended contract for the next few years, as well as Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Kelsey Plum. So their core is pretty much locked in for at least the next 3 years. So I think they definitely have an opportunity to build like a Comets-like dynasty for the OG WNBA watchers, you know what I mean? Or the Los Angeles Sparks as well. So I mean, like I said, I'm gonna be definitely keeping my eye on them because they're right up the road, and I'm definitely gonna make sure I go to some games next season because I know they'll be right back, ready to run it back. But congrats to them again. Moving on, we will get into some NBA stuff really quick here. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware about the Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury situation with the owner Robert Sarver. So basically, he got for his comments through an investigation. I believe it was like an 80,000 page investigation. He had said some racial slurs, some sexual misconduct, misogyny, typical things for most owners. And he only got a year and fined $10 million for it. So there's been conversations. There's been a lot of people that have been speaking out that thinks that he deserves more. Or as well as LeBron James, who is, we know as a prevalent voice in the NBA, saying that he disagreed with the punishment as well. So what I'm gonna propose this question to you guys, and Jay, I'll start with you first. Do you think that Robert Sarver should be banned for life? Should he get the Donald Sterling treatment, or do you think that punishment suffices? Like, what are your thoughts?
I was just about to say, Donald Sterling, right? Are we not just follow suit to what we did? You're gone. You're out of there. Once you are caught red-handed, like 1 year, $10 million for an owner. $10 million is like 1 year is like, really? That's all you get? No, you're out. You can't. You are not good enough in this league to keep owning a team. And no, you're done. You're done. You're done. I don't know where we're at. Like, I feel like the Sterling, like, he set the precedent. Like, this is what happens, owner. You do this, you're gone. You're out. Why is he still here? Why are you only 1 year? Like, what? Just 1 year and $10 million. Like, I don't understand what's going on. I think the NBA definitely got this wrong. Commissioner, like, what are y'all doing? Somebody, like, what? I don't understand. You gotta cut this stuff off at the net. Like, you don't get to own a team. Like, you have to hold yourself at such a high standard. You know what I mean? All these emails are coming out later. All these things are being said. You know what I mean? This has been going on. When you get caught red-handed, that's it. You are gone.
Right.
So NBA, like LeBron said, NBA, we got this wrong. They need to relook at this, and they need to let him go.
I'm curious if the reason why he's getting this so-called slap on the wrist that everybody's referring to with just a year suspension when Donald Sterling got completely banned after the comments and after the investigation was set, was I wonder if it was just because he was being so cooperative with the investigation and he was pleading so much apologies and he kept owning up to everything that he said. I know that Donald Sterling was one of those really like kind of hard asses, like, I didn't do it, prove it type of situation. And, Robert Sarver kind of pleaded to everybody, like, I understand where I made a mistake and things of that nature. And when you come down to the logistics of the statements and everything that is pushed up against him, it's a lot of quotes of using the N-word, but he is he's, I guess, talking in the third person where he's, I guess, trying to explain somebody else's conversations and somebody else's allegations, but also using the N-word. So, I mean, but when it comes down to the misogynistic things of asking a woman, a female that works for the organization, if she got her tits done over the summer or something like that, borderline offensive. As a grown person, as an adult, you should know better. I understand that you've been the owner for 17 years, but that doesn't mean that you could just say and make other people feel the way that you want. Just a really disgusting workplace. And I do agree that $10 million fine, because Donald Sterling got fined like $2.5 million. You know how you get these people really upset. You hit them in their wallets. So $10 million, I think, was a pretty good punishment when it comes to the fines. But I think just a year suspension is not enough. I think it should have been multitudes of years if it wasn't going to be a life ban.
I think I agree with both of you for the majority. I think, Ruth, the last thing you said is like the way you get these people is you hit them in the pockets. I kind of disagree with that because I think, especially when it comes to owners like this who, like, let's take Donald Sterling for instance. Donald Sterling was worth like damn near $3 billion. $2.5 million is chump change. Like that's 50 cents to him. You know what I'm saying? Like in that regard. And then $10 million compared to Robert Sarver, who I think is worth like $800 or $900 million at this point, almost $1 billion. Again, chump change. I think what hits them the most is when you take away their power. And by taking away their power is taking away the franchise. It's saying that you can no longer be over a franchise anymore. You can no longer attend NBA games. You can no longer have access to these players the way that you had access once before. That to me sends a message, because if all that's going to happen is a fine and a year ban, that's not going to stop future owners from having these same conversations. They're just going to be more careful with their racism and their misogyny and their sexual misconduct. Take these teams away. Like that's just what it is. Take the team away. Like, say you cannot own this team no longer. You can no longer be a part of this franchise, because that's gonna wake it up. Because then everybody's gonna be like, man, if I get caught saying this, I could lose everything that I worked so hard to get. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad, because I know for a fact that there's so many more Robert Sarvers in the NBA, in the NFL, in the MLB, no matter whatever major sports organization. I know there's more than one Robert Sarver for sure. But now it's like, what precedent are we setting by giving him this slap on the wrist? Because then it says, well, as long as I can get away with it, or if I do get caught, at the most I'm going to get, so I'm going to miss some money, miss a year. That's not, that's just not. It's not demeaning enough. Like, it's not embarrassing enough. It's not to where he's going to look in the mirror and be like, I'm wrong, because I still feel like he feels like he didn't do anything wrong. In my mind, like, he's just like, all right, well, I mean, if y'all think it's wrong, cool. Take my money. I'll take the year and I'll be back. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. Like, I just feel like when something like this happens, your access to teams should be taken away, because especially like with the whole N-word thing, 80% of your team is Black. How do you think your team is going to feel comfortable coming back to somebody who that's what you think of me when I'm not performing for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's just me.
I'm glad that all these NBA players, I mean, everybody that has a platform is using it to speak on this subject. And I really don't think this is the last we're going to hear about this situation, because I know that there's a lot of polls and votes and things going on trying to get Robert Sarver out of that seat of ownership when it comes to the Mercury and the Suns. Like, Chris Paul is already coming out to the public like, no, like, I'm doing my own investigation about this. I'm really going to find out the details, because if it is what everybody's saying it is, there's no reason why I should be playing for this man under this organization.
Absolutely. Think about it even in this sense. Like, outside of the Suns, you got the Phoenix Mercury. Diana Taurasi is a lesbian. Brittany Griner, lesbian. Like, Black. Skylar Diggins, Black. Like, Shea Petty, Black. Like, you got. So, like, what do you, and as much as they have already been through, this Mercury team has already been through, now you throw this on top of that? Like, there's no way that you can keep that man over that team, because I feel like both teams are probably looking at each other like, what are we gonna do? Because this can't be allowed. And like I said, if I'm in their position, I wouldn't feel comfortable playing for somebody that I know behind closed doors, you don't think that highly of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? You think so less of me that you feel like you can say disparaging comments about my race, or about my sexuality, or about my gender. Like, how are they supposed to feel comfortable under an owner? Like, he owns the team. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're pretty much the face of the team outside of the players. Like, how do we mend that fence? You can't. I feel like it's impossible.
Yeah.
So if let me ask you guys this. So as a team, if the league decides not to ban him, what do you think the Suns and Mercury players do? Like, what do you think? Do you think that they take action, like maybe boycotting, or like, what do you think the next step would be for them?
I think it would depend on what Robert Sarver is doing in that time of suspension. If he's taken that year to really prove and show steps that he's becoming a better person and he understands that he really made mistakes, then we'll see how they handle it from there. But I mean, if he's just going to go under wraps and stay quiet the whole year, and we don't really see him kind of making amends for the mistakes that he did, then I think they should boycott, or maybe have somebody else kind of step in place of Robert.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, no, I can definitely see them boycotting and making a stand for this year. I just feel like the damage is done. It's too irreparable. Like the players are not gonna be like, we don't want to be play for this team. People started asking for trades or doing things to get. You know what I mean? It's like whether in this year they take time, like, hey, we suspended him, and they have all that time to. I don't think he can make amends. I don't think that he can do anything. I think the players will, you know,
And Rob,
strike or say they want to play for him, maybe. I mean, if in this year while they're having somebody step in for them, they can figure something out. But yeah, the players are going to be a no go. And then I mean, you seen they're just saying somebody just said PayPal is out. They're losing sponsors. Like y'all playing with the money. Like it's bro.
Yeah.
This he needs to be gone. Like it's like no, it's not worth it. It's really not.
And that's what I think so too. Like, and that's what I mean earlier about like applying pressure. Like you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta hit him in all angles because just taking some money from a guy who's already head over heels rich, like that's not, you're not proving anything to him. Like it's just like, all right, okay, that's chump change. I'm gonna throw that off and that's it. But when it starts to get to the point where it becomes uncomfortable and he got to sit on that hot seat, that's when the change happens, because then everybody else, it sets the precedent for everybody else that if I get caught doing this or if this happens to me, I'm going to be in that same seat. And nobody, especially rich white men, don't like to be embarrassed, especially
right.
publicly.
How many owners and like Caucasian men that are in a position of power, how many do you think are sweating in their boots right now? Because I mean, they're going back a couple years when it comes to this investigation. So I mean, this could just be sparking a whole snowball effect when it comes to owners being reprimanded for the way they make their employees feel, because power and money can really get to the heads of some people, and they really just start talking to people. Because I've been in that situation where I had an owner and a boss who just, the money just completely got to their head, the power got to their head, and it was a really uncomfortable workplace, and I had to remove myself from that situation. So I mean, I see the same thing unfolding for the Mercury and the Suns moving forward.
Yeah, I think every owner is pretty nervous right now because nothing's a secret. There's documents of everything. Everything you do, everything you say, every encounter that you have, whether it's with another person, another player, like they're
So
all.
when is it gonna stop, ladies? Like, when are we gonna stop hearing stories about this? Like, you guys know that we have the internet and like there's so many tools of communication. You can get caught up saying, I mean, Rachel Nichols got caught up being on a private phone call, and look how that ended up for her. Like, she's nowhere to be found on ESPN. So sorry, Rachel, I had to do it. But yeah, at the end of the day, people just need to smarten the heck up. And I want to be over these conversations, because we should be talking about these organizations, what they bring to the table, the performances we see on the field, on the court. That's all that should be conversation about. Nothing about, what's happening behind closed doors. It's kind of sickening.
But to your point, it's never gonna stop because of why? Money and power. Because there's always gonna be an owner that thinks that they can slick a can of oil, they can get away with it somehow. And that's just what it is. I mean, it's unfortunate. I'm with you. Like I don't like having these conversations. It's definitely very uncomfortable, but at the same time, we live in America. That's reality. Everything's uncomfortable. Like you know what I'm saying?
Can we just talk about the game?
I mean, we would love to, but it's just that's not the reality that we live in. There's always going to be something else attached to the game outside of just the game. Like there's always going to be something. That's also the draw of being involved with sports or being an analyst or whatever. Like that's just, it comes with it. Right. But enough of all that sad stuff.
Oh, real quick, go Noles. Go Noles, beating Louisville on Friday. What? Okay, that's all I gotta say. We ain't gonna dive into college football right now, but wow, the Noles right now. Woo! FSU, let's go.
I can't.
But go ahead. Shout out to
you. Yeah, of course, no problem at all.
Shout out to
so, of course, the Lakers are still in shambles. They're a mess. They are they're a Rubik's Cube at this point. You can't figure them out. You can't, as much as you try to twist and turn and make it make sense, it doesn't. So they're signing every guard possible. So I pose this question. how many ways can they tell us without telling us that they are getting rid of Russ? Like,
I mean, are they though? I mean, Darwin Ham sounds so promising on bringing Russ back to old Russ. He says he's still got a lot to play. He needs to be respected around the league, yada, yada. I mean, and re-signing Dennis Schroeder, okay, you go bring Pat Bev. That's good for the defense. But, I mean, what does that mean for us? Where does he end up going? I mean, $47 million to the cap. Like, are they going to get rid of him? Not. Like, it's just Russell Westbrook is getting paid more than Anthony Davis on the Lakers.
Mind blowing.
And Anthony Davis brought them a championship. So it's not making sense.
Like LeBron James brought them a championship.
With the help of Anthony Davis.
With the
he
help
don't come without Bron. He don't get there without Bron. I'm just saying. Ron called and said, "Hey man, what we doing?" And Anthony Davis was like, "You right." He became a Laker. But no, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, I listen. I'm so over this topic because I just wish that they would just find a solution already. Like if you're gonna keep him, integrate him in the offense, do whatever master plan that Coach Tommy has. Work on that, like perfect that. If you're gonna get rid of him, get rid of him. Stop playing this stupid cat and mouse game of like, oh, because every other day it's like, oh, Russ sold his house. Oh, the Lakers signed this guard, so what does this mean for us? Oh, Russ and Pat Bev seem like they're getting along. Oh, then Russ, like, bruh, what are we doing here? Like, cut it out.
That locker room interaction between Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook looks so awkward, and I don't even know. That's going to be a dangerous dynamic in that locker room. I'm just saying, those two guys right there, it's going to be a Shaq and Kobe situation between them two. I already know. So the Lakers need to figure out. Ginny Buss needs to, put her big girl pants on and make some decisions because I don't know what's happening with Russ. I don't know. I mean, I used to love this man so much when it came to his abilities on the NBA court, but the way that his career has just taken a total, I mean, how do you describe it? Just total downfall next to LeBron James. Like it don't make no sense.
It honestly doesn't. It's mind blowing. It like because I was a big like Russ supporter, Russ defender. Really, like I used to defend Russ because I felt like even before he became a Laker, he got disrespected a lot. But now it's just like it's hard to defend him because of this just the stubbornness, and it's like you're not only are you stubborn, but you're not producing. Like it's one thing to be stubborn and you're putting good product on the court, but when you're stubborn and you're not producing, it's like what exactly am I defending? Like what I'm like I can't. It's just undescribable. But I would sell my left arm to sit in the locker room and watch Pat Bev and Russ interact. I promise you I would. Like you can have it. I'll take it off for you. I just want to sit here and see what this is going to be because I know it's going to be a mess. What about you, Jay? What do you think?
Oh my gosh. Am I worried about my Lakers? Yes. Please,
hey, but I mean, at least they signed LeBron for an extension, so we already know that he's not going nowhere.
That's good. I mean, after missing the playoffs, when you have LeBron James, AD, Russell Westbrook, even though he's still the thing about it's weird because it's like it's not. I just feel like he doesn't know how to play with anybody. Where like it's like Mr. Triple Double on OKC, like. It's not that he's like washed though. It's just like, why can't you just find your place in your fit in what you're supposed to do now? You are not Mr. Triple Double need to get every night. You're not leading the OK. You know what I mean? Like just step in and find your place. And if you could do that and just gel, we would be good. And so when Ham is like, oh yeah, we can bring back the old Russ or we can fit him into, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Russ, are you buying into that? Are you ready? Like, you know what I mean? You've been hopping around teams for the last 3 years. Like, bro, like, you know what I mean? We pay you $47 million. Like, it's in you. You're not washed, but you just got to come in and play your part, play your position, play your role. And we could do something because there's no way, even in the Wild Wild West, that we should have missed the playoffs last year. But all these signings and everything we're doing, like, okay, Pat Bev for defense. I think psychologically you just want him to get in people's minds. I think, okay, bring back Schroeder. Like, I was when we had him last time. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're just throwing players against the wall and see who sticks, like spaghetti, right? Like, I don't know.
like, girl, please take the words out of my mouth right now. Like,
We'll see.
But Laker Nation, like Laker fans out there, anybody who's watching who is a fan of the Lakers, what do they do with Russell Westbrook? Do they move him? Do they keep him? Is he going to be the answer? Is AD going to be reliable next season? Can he stay healthy? His comments of not touching the basketball since April.
You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
Is it going to sound like true? AD, are you going to stay healthy? Please.
Yo, so the Los Angeles Clippers, though, Kawhi's coming back. Paul George. I mean, they said they went and signed Paul Wall.
Paul Wall, girl, what?
Paul
you mean John Wall?
Hey, Paul Wall. That Houston rapper down south.
Let me see you grill.
If Paul Wall can get a 10-day, so can I. Hell no. But listen, as the great carrying champion would say, Clippers gonna clip. Just wait. Just give it time.
Clippers gonna clip.
Clippers gonna clip. Just give it time. Just give it time. I thought people like, the Clippers gonna take over LA. No, they're not. No, they're not. If somebody grabs Kawhi knee with a fabric wipe, he out for the season. Don't do that. I'm just saying. Did I lie?
Oh man. Oh Lord.
Well, moving on from the NBA to some NFL stuff. Bills Mafia. Is it for real? Is it the Cinderella story of Cinderella stories? Are they going to the Bills winning? You are so childish.
Winning the Super Bowl.
It's in full drive. Foot on the pedal for the Bills bandwagon. The Bills bandwagon right now. So, ladies, are they? I mean, I know it's only 2, but Josh Allen has been playing out of his mind. Stephon Diggs has been playing out of his freaking mind.
3 freaking touchdowns? What? I am so lucky I was not playing against Stephon Diggs in fantasy.
48 yards, like it's just insane. Like he had I think it was like 12.3 yards per, like, so I forget what the stat was, but it was.
I met him at the Cowboys game, week 1 when I was at AT&T Stadium. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I'm sitting in my chair, like, videoing, and somebody bumps me in my arm, and I'm like, "Yo, what's your problem?" And I turn around and Stephon Diggs, and I'm like,
"Whoa!"
I was just starstruck. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I did not mean to yell at you. It is so nice to meet you." And I was just doing this. I was like, "I see you, dog. I see you." And he sat like 10 rows in front of me. He was with his mom, and some fire ass shorty he was with too. And then he ended up going down to the field after the game. But yeah, anyways, let's not talk about week 1. We're talking about week 2 right now. I'm trying to forget that game even happened. What a waste of a trip to Arlington, let me freaking tell you. But yeah, the Bucks got to win too.
Are the Bills legit? Like, do you guys? I know, Bruce. I'm gonna start with Jay first because I already know what you think.
We already know what Bruce thinks.
What do you think about the legitimacy of the Bills? Like I said, I know it's only week 2 and we've only saw a small sample size, but they look unstoppable. So what do you think, Jay?
They look outstanding. Yesterday against the Titans, 41-7. What are we doing? They do. I will be the first one to say I don't want to say a Josh Allen hater. I don't want to say that deep. I think before last season, I didn't think he was ready for the moment. So I felt like people were praising him too big. But last year, he proved he was ready for the moment. And so for them to get this hot start, right? We're only 2 games in, right? Let's see how things go. But yeah, they look good, man. They look good. And, I'm ready for them to face my Chiefs again. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, the Chiefs going to give him a run for the money, but I definitely want to give Josh Allen his flowers now. He is ready for the moment. He has what everybody, when they were hyping him up before, he hadn't done anything yet. But starting with last season, I'm like, boom, ready for the moment. Here we go again. So if they continue like this, like, yeah, definitely watch out. But my Chiefs will definitely have something to say about it. But man, they look good. I'm excited for next week's game against the Dolphins because if they can have like a shootout with because what the Dolphins just did last week too. Like,
and I had two on the bench.
Oh, did you? But who knew, right?
I started Derek Carr over Tua in one of my leagues because I thought Derek Carr was gonna go off, and he did the opposite. He turned it off. Yeah, so I'm still sad about that. But I won in one of my leagues because Matthew Stafford played pretty well despite his 2 interceptions, and I had Derrick Henry that didn't do much for me last night. I'm sorry, but the Bills in that front 7 is ridiculous. Like, they were shutting down the run game. They were tackling Derrick Henry in the backfield. They were losing yardage almost every single run play, just completely shutting it down. So I really think that defensive 7 is going to be the reason why the Bills make it to the Super Bowl.
How valuable has Von Miller been for that defense? Like,
he showed it in week 1.
Yeah,
he's completely shifted that. Like, their defense was already they were pretty good. Like, even last year they were pretty good. So I can't say it's all, but they look elite. Like, this defense, like you said, with that front 7, they look elite. It's gonna be really tough for teams to score against those guys, and that's we all know that's the winning formula. Defense definitely wins championships. I definitely think that they have the potential to go to the Super Bowl. They still got to go through They still got to go through my homeboy. I think they'll be there. I think those 2 will be there in the end. But we would be in for a hell of a game because you got 2 young guns that, have proven that they belong in this league, and they're the next up. So they'll be. It's giving me very much Peyton and Tom Brady vibes a little bit. Like, we get to just see them battle it out over the next 5 to 6 or 7 how many years they go on in this league. So I think that's incredible. But yeah, I think the Bulls have a legit shot at it. Now, I'm not gonna jump the gun and say they are gonna be there or they're gonna win like somebody
like
show. But I definitely think that they got a legit shot at it for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to cornerback Dane Jackson, who got hurt in last night's game. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was a pretty scary injury, friendly fire. He was on the field for quite some time. They brought the ambulance out right away. Didn't even bring him out on the stretcher or nothing. He was released from the hospital, and he has avoided all major injuries. They don't have a date on when he will return, but it's good that he has all feeling in all extremities, and he's not having any major neck issues. So thank God for that, because it looks scary.
For sure. God bless him. That's I'm so glad to hear that. I hate to hear career injuries like that. So off of the Bills, really quick, one of my favorite teams to talk about, the Dallas Cowboys, of course.
What? We won. Bring it. What do you want to talk about? We won a game at home without Dak. What else you want to say?
They won a game that they supposed to win.
Against Joe Burrow?
Let's talk. Well, we're gonna talk about that on the flip, because we gotta get into that, because Cool Joe ain't looking too cool right now. He's looking a little mid. So what do you guys think? Honestly and truthfully, like I said, we know Dak's gonna be out for a good portion of the season. Pretty impressive win on for week 2. What do you guys think the future holds for this Cowboys team? Like, where do you guys kind of see the team ending up at the end of the year? And can Dak come back and salvage it and make it a magical Cowboys run? Or
I just know that Dak Prescott has to be back before week 6, because we're going against the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jalen Hurts looks spectacular, especially after last night's game against Minnesota. Completely cooked Cousins. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say on that. I think Dak's probably going to be out for the next 4 weeks. It was great to see him out there warming up with his teammates. He was at practice this week. He was seen gripping the ball. Shout out to Jane Slater, who covers the Cowboys for NFL Network. She always has great insight, and I always keep up with her and everything that has to do with Dak and his return. But Cooper looked all right. I'm not gonna lie. His second start in the NFL, he was looking pretty good. Like, he was looking confident. They came out of the locker room in the second half, and it was kind of lackluster, but they did just enough to win that, to get into field goal range with the last couple minutes left in the game. Or actually, he kicked the field goal in the last second. So great time management on Mike McCarthy's side, which is something that I've been complaining about since he's been the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. So we need Coop to win at least one more game while Dak is back, or while Dak is out until he gets back. Just Dak needs to be ready to throw the ball. Noah Brown, shout out to Noah Brown, the wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going into his second year. There was a lot of question marks about his accountability, about him dropping passes. Him and Cooper just looked completely in sync on Sunday. And I think as long as Coop can keep it together for at least the next two to three games, we're going to have Dak back. And we're going to see what this offense is really all about. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to win the division because the Eagles look great. The Giants start 2-0. I think Carson's hurt for the Commanders, which is crappy for him, but whatever. That's Carson Wentz. So I'm not going to jump the gun to say Dallas is going to win the division, but we are going to make it until either a wild card or something like that. We're going to make it to the playoffs, and I'm hoping that we can win at least 1 to 2 games.
Okay, hopeful. I like it. Hopeful. What about you, Jay?
Look, congratulations, Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations on beating Super Bowl team Cincinnati Bengals, right? Good job. They did just enough to eke out that win. I'm not Cooper Rush, get the Cowboys a couple wins if you can. If you do, hopefully I'm not sold with Dak coming back. I'm like, you look real shaky in game 1. I don't know. It's time for the Dallas Cowboys to put up or shut up, right? Zeke needs to step it up. Dak needs to step it up. If Cooper Rush can get them, a couple wins, and Dak, I don't know, over this time as he's healing his thumb, his whole mindset, I feel like you did not come to game 1 ready, so I don't even feel confident in them. When Dak, they didn't look good with them week 1, so
he didn't take any snaps in preseason, and none of the starters played in preseason, and it definitely showed against the Bucs. I mean. Right. You had Tom Brady coming to town, and you're not going to have your team out there taking some snaps on the preseason? What?
It looks. I mean, it was compared to last year, we were like, oh man, we're going to be in for a treat. What did we say week 1 predictions? Oh man, on paper, looks like how. And then it was just
3 points. They scored 3 points, and it was in their first drive.
I be trying to tell y'all to stop putting so much faith in that daggone team. I told y'all. I told y'all.
Right. I want to believe. I want to believe in the magic.
But you know, toxic relationship with the Dallas Cowboys. Toxic. Really, and I always go back, and they always just give me a little glimmer of hope. Just winning these games every so often, giving this. They just pull me back in every time.
In the words of Kayani, all of this love is toxic. But anyway, on the flip side of the Cowboys game, the Cowboys, they played against the Bengals, of course, which we were talking about. They got the week 2 win. What in the world is going on with Joe Cool, and why he looked like Joe Mid right about now?
He's been sacked 13 times in the first 2 games.
And I was gonna get to that because
I thought they went and got Alex Kappa from the Bucs to help for protection, and he's still. That offensive line is not giving the kid any time. I feel bad for him. He's running for his life. Micah Parsons was all up in his grill the whole game.
And like I said before week 2, if they do not get that man some protection, he's going to have a short career because he cannot take that kind of punishment night in and night out. He's had, even last year during the playoffs when they had to run to the Super Bowl, he had record setting of how many sacks he took. That is asinine for a quarterback. And he's only 23, maybe 24 years old. It's he cannot constantly get hit like that. He doesn't even have time to throw the ball because people are just running through the offensive line. So are they able to make it? Do you guys think that there's any changes that they can make right now to kind of patch that up some, or is this just going to be a long season for him?
I think it's going to be a long season for Joe Burrow. I don't have the most respect or confidence in their head coach and Zach Taylor. I think that he is a part of the issue as well. And yeah, as long as if they can't keep Joe Burrow upright, I mean, they can't completely depend on Nixon on the run game 100%. And if that O-line doesn't give him more than at least 2 seconds to get the ball down the field to Jamar Chase, they're going to have a really long season. And I mean, we saw Joe Burrow be inaccurate in week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He threw 3 interceptions and they could have won the game like 2 different times. And their kicker was just completely off that day. So I don't know. Just you would kind of think that they were going through a Super Bowl hangover of their own, even though they didn't win.
It happens. That's why they say, it's so tough to get to the Super Bowl and tough to win it. Mike says in the comments, free Mike Evans. So since free Mike
Evans. That 1 game suspension. That was some bull crap.
Since Mike brought it up, we have to talk about it because I think it's absolutely hilarious because Mike Thomas got into a bit of a scuffle or kerfluffle, as I like to call it sometimes. With the New Orleans Saints player, because I did play the Saints this last week. I forgot the
Marshawn Lattimore.
Marshawn Lattimore, which they have had a history of going back and forth prior to this. So then he got a little got into a little scuffle there with and what's the craziest thing about this whole scuffle is that it wasn't even between them two. It was because he was protecting. Please, Ruth, say his name. Say his name, please.
Edward Patrick Brady, the GOAT, number 12. Tampa Bay.
I can always count on you to provide me his full government. So so he got into it behind protecting Tom Brady. What do you guys think about this whole the whole incident as well as the Bucs, because they don't look too good either. I mean, they look okay, but they don't look as great as people thought that they were going to be because they, pretty much ran it back with their same team. But what do you guys think? Thoughts, Ruth?
We don't care over here. We got to win in New Orleans, and that's all everybody is caring about right now. We were 0-6 against New Orleans since Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians took over back in 2019. Brady was 0-4 in the regular season against the Saints since he's been a Buccaneer. So, yeah, that was a must-needed win. And to win at Caesars Superdome where those New Orleans Saint fans are ruthless. Let me tell you, I went to the Halloween game last season by myself because my friend, pulled out last minute and I was like, I'm going. Like, I already got my ticket, hotel. I'm going. So I go to New Orleans by myself on Halloween weekend, and I go to that game on Super Bowl Sunday, or not Super Bowl Sunday, NFL Sunday, and I forget what week. I think it might have been like week 4, but those Saints fans were harassing. Those Saints fans were getting in my face. Those Saints fans were trying to take, as I was dressed up as a pirate because it was Halloween, and they were trying to steal my swords. Like, they were just picking on me. And even after they won, I was continuing to get harassed and trash talked to the whole half-mile walk back to my hotel. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so it was a must-see win. I talked to Todd Bowles at practice on Friday before they headed out to New Orleans, and he said this isn't a rivalry, because for a rivalry, you need a give and take, and all they've been doing is taking. So it's our time to go in there and take one for ourselves so we can actually make this a legitimate rivalry, and I respect that a lot from Todd Bowles. He had a lot of great things to say about Jameis Winston as well, how he was able to overcome adversity, how he was able to overcome a serious injury and be the starting quarterback to learn a new system in New Orleans, yada, yada, yada. All that is fine and dandy, but we saw old Jameis on Sunday. Let's admit it. 2 picks late in the fourth quarter. It was 3-3 coming back from the half, and then all of a sudden it was 23. I think we saw the old Jameis. Shout out to Jamel Dean, who took over for Sean Murphy Button in that cornerback position. He got his 2 picks. I think he ran one of them back for a pick 6. And then Brashard Perriman to the end zone with Tom Brady with that floater. It was textbook. It was beautiful. Great win for the Bucks. But they still got a long road to go. They got the Green Bay Packers as their first home game next Sunday on September 25th. So
It's
they're
gonna be
about to be coming
so
to
much
town.
fun.
Yeah, so we're about to see what the Bucks are really made of, because now that Mike Evans is suspended for a game for pushing Marshawn Lattimore, we all know it was coming. We all know it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans was getting mad that he was getting shut down in that corner position, and Marshawn was just yapping about, I think Brady wanted a flag for like a offensive or defensive pass interference when Marshawn Lattimore got up in the face of the receiver. I think it was on Scotty Miller, and like pushed him to the sidelines. So, Tom Brady likes to get a little chippy sometimes. He's a really competitive dude. It's all expected. He goes and says something to, oh no, you know what started it? Bruce Arians started arguing with Marshawn Lattimore on the sidelines. That's how it all started. If you look at the clip all the way back, it was Bruce Arians and Marshawn arguing. And then Brady stepped in and started arguing with Marshawn. Marshawn gets in Brady's face. Leonard Fournette comes out of nowhere, comes and steps to Marshawn and pushes him. Then Leonard Fournette got pushed back, and then that's when Mike Evans comes from the sideline. He was already almost to the sideline, peeped what was going on, turned around, and completely pushed Marshawn right off his feet. So, but it's expected. Bucks Saints always go at it head to head. But yeah, they walk away with the win, so that's the most important.
There you go.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jen.
I was just gonna say, yeah, we knew the suspension was coming, but I mean, don't we like to see a good brawl every now and again? Like, I was like, come on, Mike.
It's football.
Right, come on. You're like, no, man, I'm pushing you. Like, I was like, go ahead, Mike. You do your thing. When you're like, oh, bro,
He said, I like skin, but I ain't soft.
Right.
I
He
like
was like, what you want?
Actually, if you guys ever have the time, look up the history of Mike Evans. That guy has been through some pretty traumatic, tragic stuff. And for him to be holding himself like so humble and such a nice guy, like it's shocking from the stuff that he's been through in his childhood and where he came from. But he's come a long way, and I just think he let his emotions get the best of him. But at the end of the day, he's protecting his quarterback. So I don't have any problem with it. But the NFL, obviously, and somebody was telling me on Twitter that the person that made the decision about the suspension has a son that plays for the Green Bay Packers. So everybody was all like, oh, there's some, conspiracy with it, trying to get Evans out the game when the Green Bay Packers are coming to Tampa.
No fun league. Well, I definitely appreciate both of you ladies' perspective on that. I just thought it was funny, honestly. And like I said, like Jay said, I mean, who doesn't like to see a good brawl? But I'm not going to let Ruth get away with that slight flex. Please tell the people that you cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because that is what you do, ma'am. And we haven't talked about it yet, and I haven't forgotten. I was like, I'm waiting for this show so that I can give you your flowers in your face in person, sis. So I want to say I am super, super proud of you, because that's such a dope accomplishment. And every time I see you post about it, I'm just like, look at my sis doing what she does. So
and I did it on my own. I did it under my own name, my own tag. I started this radio show with WTMP. They were like, yo, you should be able to apply for credentials. And I did just that. And I'm in the building, and I'm really, really hoping that I can get into practice on Thursday, because we're having open locker room with the players, and we have Mr. Tom Brady himself coming to the podium. So fingers crossed, but I'll definitely be there Friday.
Yeah, so we here at the Sports Sensei want to give Ruth the Truth her flowers, because sis is covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So congrats to you, Ruth.
You can't see it right now because the sun's gone, obviously, but you could see the Raymond James Stadium from every single room in my condo. So it's only like a mile and a half away. So it's a great opportunity to cover the Buccaneers living in Tampa. Dream come true. But yeah, this is only the beginning. We'll see.
Another humble flex from the condo, though, sis. From the condo, though.
On the 11th floor, baby.
Every corner of the stadium from the condo, though, sis.
Let's go.
I want to be like Ruth the Truth when I grow up.
Yeah, I sold my house in Orlando. I can't do a house no more. I don't want to deal with yards. I don't want to deal with neighbors, like all that. No, and most neighborhoods are all family oriented with kids running around. My kids are furry with 4 feet. So, I mean, I never fit into the cookie cutter neighborhood. So I decided to get a condo instead. And I'm loving it. Like elevator to the parking garage. You get the same parking spot every time. It's pretty good. I like it. It's my first time living in a city because I've always lived in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs. I've never lived like concrete jungle. So it's definitely different, but they have a lot of plants and trees and stuff around. So it's not like my dog is having to go number 2 on a sidewalk, which I think is really weird. So thank God for that.
Yeah, Russ said you do what you want when you popping. I like the energy. You do what you want when you're popping.
That's cool.
All right. Really quick, ladies, and I think this will be our last topic, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up because I know Ruth's got to do some homework. So we got to make sure we get our good sis back in them books. But what do we think about Jimmy G returning to the starting position after, unfortunately, Trey Lance went down with a season-ending injury? Sorry, I couldn't get it out. The season-ending injury. Of course, they had to, because they were going to cut Jimmy G in the offseason. That's what we were hearing, because Trey Lance was supposed to be the guy. Then they decided not to cut him, which good on them. And Trey Lance gets injured. Jimmy G enters the game. They get their first win of the season. What are we thinking, ladies?
I think it was.
Go ahead.
I think it was a great move for the 49ers to re-sign Jimmy. I think they messed up by saying it was Trey Lance's team to begin with. That is the quarterback that brought y'all to the Super Bowl. That's the quarterback that beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay last season. I just don't think that Jimmy G gets enough credit. I really feel bad for Trey Lance in his situation. It's a season-ending injury. He's having surgery. It was very similar to the injury that we saw with Dak Prescott in week 4 of last season. Or was it last season? No, the season before that. Wow, time is flying. But yeah, it's a really ugly situation with Trey Lance. But I honestly never believed 100%. I never really had that utmost faith for Trey Lance. I really didn't know if he was a leader in the locker room. I think it definitely shed some light on the locker room situation when he didn't get voted as captain. I think that spoke volumes. I just don't think he's a very maybe he's just not mature enough to lead grown men, which I mean is nothing wrong with that. I understand if you got to take a back seat for quite some times. I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes be the backup for Alex Smith for a couple seasons before he stepped into his role. So I really think that Trey Lance is still going to need a little bit more time before he's ready to step up as QB1. But glad to see Jimmy G's back in 49ers uniform. And it worked out for them because he came in and won the game for them. And I don't know what's going on with Seattle. I'm kind of worried about their season, but shout out to the 49ers.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And Jay, before you go, let me just say something really quick about the Seattle Seahawks. You know, everybody made a big fuss because they beat Russell Wilson. I'm a Russell Wilson person because I just like him as a person. I really do. And, you know, and of course, Sierra, gotta love Sierra. But anyway, that's not about that. Everybody made this big old fuss and this big thing because the Seattle Seahawks beat the Broncos. Russ didn't look like Russ. There was a whole, conversation about the decision making at the end for the Broncos. Whatever. I'm bringing this up because who is the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks? Geno Smith, correct?
Correct.
Everybody, all of a sudden, just because he had one good game, acted like he was back and we shouldn't have wrote him off and, we should have gave him more of a chance. What happened in week 2?
He got slapped around. Let me look at his numbers. Geno Smith was 24 for 30, 197 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 80% completion rating. Oh, they put the backup in? Oh, it was that bad? They put the backup in? Oof. 5
points exactly. With all this premature celebration and prima donna and all this craziness just because he had one game. Just like you said, Ruth, we saw the old Jameis, we saw the old Geno Smith. He is who we think he is. He is trash juice. All of a sudden, he was just Tom Brady because he cut it out. Please cut it out. Now, sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Back to the 49ers and Jimmy G. Yes, well, look what hat I'm wearing. I think this is the first. I done had this hat for like 3-4 years and never wear. I think this is the first time I'm wearing it. Okay, I think I bought it on accident. But anyway, Jimmy G, the man, the myth, the legend.
Sports star Jimmy.
Right? Aren't you 49ers fans glad that they kept him? Okay, but yeah, man. I mean, he competed for his job last season. He got you all the way to the NFC Championship. Like, really? Y'all just disrespected him. We didn't know what was going on. He was just hanging there for a while. You get Trey Lance, but yeah, Trey Lance has to come into his own. You can't. I mean, no matter how great you were in college, you don't know what they're gonna be in the NFL yet. You know what I mean? You gotta let him grow. So to automatically, he's our next guy up, and Jimmy G, you didn't do nothing for us. He treated him like trash. Like, he played lights out like he got you to the. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, if we make the playoffs, but he was playing for his job. Last year, put some respect on his name, and you saw the team, the camaraderie. Like, it was like, Jimmy G back in the game. We scored. Like, they were hyped. Like, we got our quarterback back, right? They was feeling it, so it was like,
Poor Trey Lance.
I mean, Trey Lance, exactly. We don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially a season-ending injury. But yeah, Jimmy G, what we doing? Where we going? What we doing? Like, bring him back. I'm excited. You gonna play for your job again? You gonna show them why they shouldn't have started Trey Lance over you? What you gonna do, Jimmy G? I'm excited. So
I love how Jimmy just keeps his composure. Like, nothing phases him. He walked back up in 49 and land like, "What's up, guys?" And like, just completely composes himself. And I think that speaks a lot on his leadership and how he is just confident on who he is and his abilities. And I think the 49ers are in way better shape now than they were with Trey Lance. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. I feel really bad for Trey Lance because I know, like, that it was like, he's taking over the reins and he was supposed to be the guy. And granted, he didn't play the greatest in week 1, but I didn't think he played awful. I just think he didn't live up to what the 49ers saw in him for them to say, we want you to be our number one guy, which it takes time. Like Jay was saying, with Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith. Even when Mahomes first came in, like his first couple of, he played okay, but it wasn't like box office knock you out your seat. It took him some time to get adjusted. And I think, unfortunately for Trey Lance, he never even got to really get his footing because he got hurt the next game. So it's just like, it sucks for him, but I think it's one of those things with Jimmy G is like, Jimmy G has great intangibles. I just still don't think that he's your franchise quarterback. And I think, right now it's like I said before, it's prisoner of the moment. Like, he won the game and everybody was excited, but then it's like when he settles back in and does what he does and why they wanted to make the decision in the first place, then it's going to be, okay, so now we got to go back to Trey Lance. Like, it's going to be this back and forth thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think eventually the 49ers are going to have to decide, like, are we going to keep him as a backup or are we going to just cut ties and go all in on Trey Lance, because you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. It's just not going to work out.
But like, how lucky are they that nobody picked up the phone and called Jimmy G when he decided to walk away from San Francisco? How lucky are they? Because what situation would they be in right now if Trey Lance goes down and Jimmy G walks?
It wouldn't be a good one. That'd be
I'm just saying they lucked out. They need to realize. Yeah, they lucked out. They need to realize what they have in front of him and put some respect on Jimmy G's name.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. This is a family show.
I gotta ask you, ladies, a question though. Who had the worst week 2? The Indianapolis Colts, who lost 0-24 to Jacksonville, or last night's game, the Tennessee Titans getting spanked by Buffalo?
I'm a Colts fan, so you didn't have to do that. That's rude.
Oops.
That's disrespectful. But I'm not really surprised by that. I'm more surprised by the Titans getting spanked by the Buffalo Bills. Like, that shocked me, because I thought Buffalo was going to win that game. I predicted them to win that game. I did not predict a blowout. I didn't see a blowout coming. So the fact that they got blown out, especially as good of a team as they were last year, was very surprising to me. But at the same time, like we talked about earlier, the Bills with that front seven, like, they're going to be doing a lot of teams like that, because a lot of teams ain't going to be able to score.
Yeah.
So But yeah, I would definitely go the Titans getting mollywopped the way that they did.
Right. But 3 interceptions for Matt Ryan though. Like, was he just?
Okay.
Was he like just not? I mean, I didn't get to watch. I didn't have a chance to watch the game, so I don't know if any of those were like tip ups or something like that. You know, like
Matt Ryan. I don't see. Here's the thing. It's gonna be a stressful sports year for me because I don't know what the coaches were thinking by getting Matt Ryan. Like, what about seeing Matt Ryan in the last? What about seeing Matt Ryan in the last two seasons made Indianapolis go, we should bring that guy here. That's our guy. Why? For what? For what?
They're trying to go Matthew Stafford. They were like, if Matthew Stafford could do it, because I surely thought he was washed. They were like, maybe, you know what? I mean, it was just a few years back. You know, the Falcons were in the Super Bowl that they lost horribly.
And he's never been the same since, by the way. But here's the difference. Matthew Stafford didn't have nearly as much talent as Matt Ryan did in their respective careers. If you compare Matthew Stafford in Detroit versus Matt Ryan in Atlanta, the talent wise, Matt Ryan should have at least a couple Super Bowls, at least. But he don't, because he's not a good quarterback. I don't understand why people don't understand that. Like he has good things, good qualities, but especially at this point in his career, he's not the guy. I don't understand. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
All right, the Titans had the worst week 2. We're gonna see Matt Ryan bounce back. We're gonna see Jonathan Taylor get more involved. He only had like 57 yards, I think, carrying 54 yards with 9 attempts. They need to run the ball more, and they're gonna figure stuff out. But
We'll figure it out.
I love your optimism off the truth, but stressful.
Gotta stay positive.
Jay, what was your prediction? I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No, yeah. I mean, this just tells you how basic Tannehill is, but this is why you might have King Henry, but you need a quarterback. Okay, Titans, you need a quarterback. But then I'm like, I'm torn honestly because I'm like, really, Matt Ryan, you could score 1 touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That what? This one. So it's both to me they're kind of equal. Like I'm like, what is going on? A complete shutout, and then Colts game 1, you get a tie with the Texans. Like so you 0-1-1 right now. The Colts. But yeah, I mean they're kind of equally both as bad. Both horrible week 2s. Let's do week 3. You know, it's any given Sunday. So next week, let's go. Week 3.
Yes, indeed. Well, that will wrap up another episode of the Sports Sensei. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments and the support. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe to us on all platforms. We'll be back next Tuesday with another action-packed show for y'all, and I cannot wait to get into it because we got so many things to talk about, discuss. Another week of NFL stuff. Some NBA stuff will probably happen. You know how it goes. But thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a great rest of y'all night.
See y'all next week. Bye.